Well, the kids are back at school today. I did not get any. I did not get any day three or day four vlogs, and the reason for that this weekend in particular is I just didn't do it. Honestly, I was trying to just spend a little more time away from the computer. I actually did sit up here Saturday morning just working on some of our finances for our family and bills and all that. But I'm finding myself at this point where I was actually talking to a couple people yesterday, and I'm like so close to getting a flip phone or something because I'm just tired of how accessible I am. And it's not just how accessible I am, it's how accessible, it's more than that. I'm tired of how accessible the world is to me. Like at the click, I literally have access to the entire world in my hand. Now, there's value in that. Last night I was working on a new project, and I was using ChatGPT on my computer to kind of help. I went in, I said, look, I want to do this, help me, ask me questions to really identify what I'm trying to build here, like the brand. Ask me questions about this new brand, this new project that will help me really develop it. And then, so as I'm developing it, I'm all right, take these thoughts and package them for me, and then ask me more questions about it. And the whole idea being AI is asking me the questions that need to be asked so I can really successfully develop this project. And then I got off the computer and I brought my phone with me, and I continued the conversation with ChatGPT on my phone because I have the ChatGPT app. And then I just find that I tried to just put my phone down on the charger last night, and just my wife and I we started rewatching Bones, and so we were watching that, and I was just trying not to spend time on my phone because I find that I spend way too much time just sitting and doom scrolling Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and Reddit and YouTube. And it's just my mind is constantly stimulated by all these things. And, I never really have time. I never really have a moment, an intentional set of time in my day to really just process and decompress, because I'm just constantly stimulating the dopamine in my brain with this stupid phone. So I'm debating maybe I just leave the phone in the office. I only use it during the day. I don't know. I don't know where I'm at with that yet, but I'm just really having a hard time figuring that out. And now, kind of getting into the nitty-gritty of this new project, I'm wrestling. I need to be able to work on this new project, but to work on it, I need to be sitting at the computer in front of a screen developing ideas and creating and crafting. And so I don't know, dude. This new project, I finally made a lot of headway on it. It's something I've been thinking of for a while. It's crazy because this year I've had the capacity to start on so many projects, and I talked about this a little bit in the last video, is I've got so many things, projects and dreams that I want to accomplish, and I have the capacity now in my life to begin working on those things. But at the same time, I have this really bad habit of getting really deeply invested in completing a project, and then I just get busy, or I get to a point where it's like I feel kind of stuck, like analysis paralysis, and so I'll just kind of shelve it for a while and then go work on another thing and then maybe come back to it later. And I'm really wrestling with that because this new project that I finally got some headway on last night, I'm building a new brand with it, and so I'm trying to decide how, I want this brand to be very human. That's the whole idea behind it. It's very human, very rugged, very just cut to the chase, straightforward, inspirational, motivational, all about kind of connecting and motivating and getting crap done. And I'm wrestling with it because this is the problem with ChatGPT. I use AI as a tool, like with the Bad Pastor podcast. I use AI as a tool for the Bad Pastor to develop. I'll sit down, help me outline my thoughts for this episode. This is everything I'm thinking about talking about. So I want to communicate this word, this idea, this challenge. These are all the things that go with it. Here are the scriptures that that have been on my mind as I've been studying this, or these are the scriptures I've been studying, whatever it might be. Create an outline, and then ChatGPT does it, and it's always just so freaking cheesy, dude. That's how I know when someone's using AI, is the language doesn't sound human, or it's overly cheesy, overly corny, And as I'm building this new brand, I'm just like, I'm finding myself almost arguing with ChatGPT. Like, that's too corny. That's too cheesy. That's not human enough. And so, like, I'm taking bits and pieces of what ChatGPT is generating and then using that to really further create what I'm working on. And it's challenging because I really want this new brand and project I'm working on to be, I don't want it to be corny. I think there are a lot of brands out there that are trying to accomplish something similar, and they just appear corny. They just appear cheesy, goofy, just like cringy. I sound like my 11-year-old saying cringy. And I'm trying to create a brand that really communicates authenticity and just like raw humanity. And so I'm trying to like figure out what is that brand, like how does that brand, this is the most challenging part for me is I have like who, the why, the what, the how of it all, but like encapsulating all that down into a clearly identifiable brand is where I'm really challenged right now. And so I'm just like really wrestling with the whole idea back and forth quite a bit of when it comes down to actually like creating the logo for the brand. And like I even have the colors. I have mood boards I've been creating on like Pinterest and saving photos. But when it comes down to really identifying like the logo for the brand, I guess, is where I'm really challenged. Because I look at the Bad Pastor podcast, right? And I don't love the branding for the Bad Pastor podcast. Like when I first created it months ago, I was like, this is great. Like I can vibe with this. You know, this is decent. This is cool. But the longer it goes on, I'm just like, this looks goofy. This looks corny. This looks cheesy. Like, ugh. And so I'm just trying to figure out how to brand this new project and honestly rebrand the Bad Pastor, like the actual logo of it, the actual logo branding for the Bad Pastor podcast. Especially now that I'm 12 episodes into it, how to rebrand it in a way that really communicates the essence of what it is. And when I say rebrand, I'm mostly just talking about redoing the logo in such a way the logo communicates, because people think branding and they just think the logo. You know, that's the logo, and a logo is part of a brand. It's how it's the visible appearance of the brand, maybe the ID. But the branding of something goes so much deeper than a logo. It's the identity of something. And so I just want to make sure that this new project, when you see the logo or the content, the products that it achieves, it identifies and articulates and communicates, this is the brand that we're representing. And so I'm really wrestling with that. I don't know. What's probably going to happen is I'm going to get a lot of headway on this project, and then I'll shelve it for a few months before I get like another, spark of inspiration or something for it. And the challenge I have is I find this year that I have the capacity to work on and invest in so many projects. And when I say invest, I ain't got no money to invest. Very little. But finding the capacity and space to invest time and energy and effort into so many of the projects I've wanted to do for years. This one that I'm working on right now that I started really getting a lot of headway on last night is a project I've wanted to do for several years, 4 or 5 years. One of the other projects I started earlier this year is something I've wanted to do for about 20 years. Obviously the Bad Pastor podcast is something I started thinking of, honestly, a year ago. And the challenge is, like, the thing I even wrestle with is this channel. Like, does this channel need to be the original intention behind this channel specifically was tech content creation focus, and it's kind of deviated a little bit with some of the vlogs. So then I thought maybe I should do a vlog channel, but then I think like most of the vlogs I've done directly correlate back to like tech content. But then I even thought with my TikTok, like I might need to make a new TikTok for the kind of content I want to create, because my TikTok has kind of been most of the growth on my TikTok channel has been the result of gaming content, Fortnite, and I purged all that. But a lot of people also say like once you're hooked in that algorithm, you're stuck in that algorithm. And so it's just all that to say, building a brand, creating content is not easy. It requires a lot to do it and do it well and successfully. You have to be so intentional about it all. And this is one of the things, like, I get analysis paralysis. And this is where I always get held up, is I just, if I feel like this project is not going to do well, I'm going to shelve it until I know that I can get it to a better place. And that's how I am with content creation, with streaming, with The Bad Pastor, with this channel. All of it is I just want to produce a high quality project, high quality content. So I don't know. Let me think more, and I'll have more thoughts to share tomorrow. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next one. Let's go.